The American middle class is facing one of the most dramatic financial transformations in modern history, and millions of people are beginning to realize that something no longer feels normal about everyday life. Even though headlines continue to report record stock market highs, strong employment numbers, and rising household incomes, ordinary families across the country are struggling more than ever to stay financially stable. More Americans are living paycheck to paycheck despite earning salaries that would have once been considered financially secure. And many households are quietly falling into debt simply to maintain a basic standard of living. The traditional foundation of middle-class life has been slowly collapsing over the last several years, and four major financial pillars that once supported ordinary Americans have effectively disappeared: affordable housing, reliable retirement security, emergency savings, and the stability that came from dual-income households. Housing is now one of the clearest examples of this shift, because home prices have risen far faster than incomes, making homeownership increasingly unreachable for younger generations and first-time buyers. In previous decades, a middle-class salary could often buy a home, support children, and still leave room for savings and retirement contributions. But today, many families are discovering that even earning above-average incomes is no longer enough to comfortably purchase a home in many parts of the country. Mortgage rates have also climbed sharply, causing monthly payments to become dramatically more expensive, while homeowners who locked in low interest rates years ago are refusing to move because upgrading to a new mortgage would significantly increase their costs. This has frozen large parts of the housing market and created even fewer opportunities for new buyers. Renting is no longer an easy alternative, either because rental prices have surged across the country, leaving millions of families spending enormous portions of their income just to keep a roof over their heads, with many households having almost nothing left after paying rent and utilities. At the same time, retirement security has weakened considerably, as traditional pensions have largely disappeared, and workers have been forced to rely on personal retirement accounts, such as 401ks, to fund their future. Americans were told that if they consistently invested money throughout their careers, they would eventually retire comfortably. But the growing financial pressure on households has forced many people to withdraw money early from retirement accounts, simply to cover basic living expenses, medical bills, tuition payments, or housing costs. Instead of retirement savings serving as long-term wealth-building tools, they are increasingly becoming emergency survival funds, which creates a dangerous cycle where families sacrifice future financial security just to survive in the present. Emergency savings, another critical part of middle-class stability, have also nearly vanished for many Americans because rising costs have made it difficult to set money aside for unexpected situations. A large percentage of people now cannot afford even a small emergency expense without borrowing money or using credit cards. And this growing dependence on debt has become one of the defining characteristics of the modern economy. Credit card balances have reached record highs, while interest rates on consumer debt continue climbing, forcing families to spend enormous amounts of money on interest payments alone. Car loans have become increasingly extreme as well, with many buyers committing to long-term loans and massive monthly payments simply because vehicle prices have risen so dramatically. For countless households, a single medical emergency, car repair, or unexpected expense can immediately trigger financial instability and create debt that takes years to escape. Another major shift affecting the middle class is the increasing dependence on two incomes just to maintain an ordinary lifestyle. Decades ago, many families could survive comfortably on one income while still owning a home, raising children, taking vacations, and saving for retirement. But today, two incomes are often required simply to cover basic expenses such as childcare, groceries, healthcare, transportation, insurance, and housing. Even families earning well over six figures frequently find themselves operating with extremely thin financial margins after paying monthly bills, and many of these households appear financially successful from the outside, while privately struggling to stay afloat. This explains why so many people earning high salaries still report feeling financially stressed and unable to get ahead despite working hard and following traditional financial advice. At the same time that the cost of living has increased for ordinary Americans, wealth generated through assets such as real estate and stocks has overwhelmingly benefited those who already owned them. People who purchased homes or invested in markets before prices surged experienced enormous increases in wealth, while younger generations and lower-income households who lacked assets found themselves increasingly locked out of financial growth. This has created a widening divide between those who own appreciating assets and those who rely entirely on wages to survive. In many ways, the middle class has not disappeared completely, but has instead split into two groups: people who already own assets and continue building wealth through rising markets, and people who do not own assets and are being squeezed by rising costs at nearly every level of life. Despite all these challenges, financial stability is still possible for those who adapt early by focusing on reducing high-interest debt, building emergency savings, avoiding unnecessary financial obligations, and steadily investing in long-term assets whenever possible. The modern economy rewards ownership far more than income alone, and the people who succeed moving forward will likely be those who understand this shift and focus on building financial resilience instead of relying entirely on wages. The reality is that the traditional version of the American middle class has changed dramatically, and while the system may no longer provide the same level of stability it once did, individuals who adjust their financial habits and prioritize ownership over consumption still have opportunities to create long-term security in an increasingly difficult economic environment.